In today's video, we'll delve straight into the heart of the matter. Convicted killers in courtroom have different stories, but the worst ones never show remorse. Let's go in detail through these in court and analyze these shocking cases. Let's start by talking about the Las Vegas teens that went viral on every social media platform. As police chief was murdered in a hit-and-run attempt, Jesus and his friend are being taken to court as adults for serious charges, including murder. This is because of their involvement in a car crash that was recorded on video. The car crash resulted in the death of a former police chief from Bell. They showed up in court in Las Vegas. The trial is scheduled for September 2024. In a video showing two teenagers, one 18 and the other 16, hiding their face with their hands. They seem to smirk and smile at each other while also looking at the victim's family. The teenagers didn't admit to doing anything wrong. They're facing serious charges for supposedly working together to steal cars and cause accidents on August 14th. This includes a terrible incident where they hit a bicyclist named Andreas Andy Probst on purpose. Lawyer David Westbrook is helping the 18-year-old. He wants his client to get out of jail until the trial. Another lawyer, Daniel Hill, is helping the other one, 16-year-old. He didn't reply to messages asking for his opinion. The older person was 17 when they got arrested after the incident that caused Probst's death. The younger one got arrested on September 19th. Both are still in jail and haven't been granted bail while waiting for the trial. A video was taken from the front passenger seat of a car believed to be stolen. In the video, Probst is seen riding a bicycle ahead. Male voices and laughter can be heard as the car moves towards Probst and hits the bicycle from behind. Probst is then even shown lying on the ground next to the curb. Police say the teenagers hit a 72-year-old cyclist first and then drove off. The cyclist complained of knee pain but didn't need to go to hospital. In Nevada, teenagers who are at least 13-year-old can be treated as adults under the law if they're accused of murder or attempted murder. Even though they are considered adults for the trial, they won't be given the death penalty because they're still too young. If they're found guilty of murder, the harshest punishment they could get is 20 years to life in prison. What do you think of this case? Write your thoughts down below. Next case, we see Lori Vallow, who's in court for something really shocking. She's the mom who did something terrible. She's accused of killing her two kids and the ex-wife of the person she was in a relationship with. Lori used to live in Arizona with her kids, but then she moved to Rexburg, Idaho because she fell in love with Chad Daybell, who writes about the end of the world. In December 2019, people noticed her kids were gone and nobody knew where they were for almost a whole year. In Idaho on June 9, 2020, the children Vallow and Tylee Ryan were discovered deceased and buried in Chad's backyard. At any point in the last 4 years, you name me one time she has showed remorse. I haven't seen it, Larry Woodcock, JJ's grandfather, said. Prosecutors in the US said Lori Vallow, who is 50 years old, was really into a religious idea of an apocalypse. She believed that to get to heaven her kids had to be killed, as her trial found out. She thought her son and daughter were like zombies and that she was a special goddess meant to bring out the end of the world as described in the Bible. She got 3 life sentences, one for each crime she was charged with, to be served back to back. The disappearance of 2 of their children, 7-year-old Joshua JJ Vallow and his sister Tylee Ryan, aged 16, in September 2019 fixed the nation and sparked a months-long search for them. In June 2020, the police discovered JJ and Tylee's bodies at a property in rural Idaho. This place belonged to Chad Daybell, who was Vallow's 5th husband. He's waiting for a trial for the same murder charges. After a long trial, Vallow was found guilty of killing JJ and Tylee in May this year. She was also convicted of planning murder to Daybell's ex-wife, Tammy. When she spoke to the court before her punishment, she said she had talked to the spirit world during a session with death. She told the judge she was sure her kids and Tammy Daybell were joyful in heaven. She mentioned that Tylee and JJ had let her know that they were happy after they passed away. Vallow has 2 more cases in Arizona. One is about planning with her brother to kill her 4th husband, Charles Vallow. The other is about plotting to kill her niece's ex-husband. She will get multiple life sentences for her shocking actions. Share your thoughts. What would you give her in her sentencing? The next disturbing case, we see Antoine Cardine. Antoine, who was found guilty of murder, says he doesn't feel sorry for what he did. He believes he was just trying to protect a group of people when he shot and killed Darnell Johnson last October. Defense attorney Lyndon Lindahl told a Fresno judge, "Your Honor, my client showed no remorse because in his heart of hearts, he was defending people." Lindahl said he had no malice. Let's find out what exactly happened that day. In May, a jury decided that Carradine was guilty of second-degree murder for causing the death of Johnson, who was 31 years old, at the Soul Brothers Motorcycle Clubhouse in 2022. During a gathering of around 200 people, Carradine and Johnson engaged in a shootout. Bullets were fired by both sides, resulting in Johnson's death and sending 2 other people to the hospital. Probation is denied, and the defendant is committed to the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation for the term of 15 years to life, enhanced by the term of 25 years to life, Fresno Court Judge Kimberly Gabb said. In a legal document, Lindahl wrote down many problems. He mentioned the decision that doesn't match the evidence, scaring witnesses, and even jurors seemed to be falling asleep during the trial. And Tom was not happy with the verdict as he went out the court back to the jail. Do you agree with the verdict? Comment it down below. So, when you think it can get as bad in the following case, watch this. As you think, teenager and their age are enjoying life and the time with friends, but not for Scarlett Jenkinson and Eddie Radcliffe. The judge said that the girl and boy who killed 16-year-old Brianna Gay would stay in jail until they're not a danger to others anymore. 2 16-year-old people, Scarlett Jenkinson and Eddie Radcliffe, were finally named as the killers. They said they didn't murder Brianna and pointed fingers at each other for the terrible attack. Detectives described the attack as horrific. Scarlett and Eddie were only 15 when they made a disturbing plan to kill Brianna. They carried out the attack using a hunting knife in a horrific manner. The judge gave the sentence hoping that, even though the killers are young, they might change and improve in the future. There was no remorse or flicker of emotion from Jenkinson or Radcliffe as they were sentenced. You want to know what happened that day? Let's go through it. Brianna, who was feeling worried and easily hurt, was stabbed many times in different parts of her body. This happened after she was tricked into going to Linear Park, which is near a village close to Warrington. On that day, when she went out from home, she believed she was going to see a friend. However, according to detectives, Brianna from Berkport, Warrington, had actually been tricked into leaving her house by a girl who intended to harm her. The judge said, "Your motivation, Scarlett, was to act out your fantasies. You wanted to see the pure horror of Brianna's face." When Jenkinson was 14 years old, she got a toy internet browser app. She used it to watch videos of real people being hurt or killed in red rooms or the dark web. At the trial, this was revealed. She started to like learning about serial killers. She took notes on how they did things. She even said she enjoyed thinking about hurting and killing people, which she called dark fantasies. It was said in court that both Jenkinson and other person lived in a hidden world where they were only interested in murder and being cruel. Next, we have Scott Peterson's murder case, and the question is he innocent and that's why he's showing no remorse? Or is this a big plan to escape the verdict? Let's find out so you can make up your own opinion. The Los Angeles Innocence Project is helping Scott Peterson's case. He was found guilty 20 years ago in California for the death of his wife Lacey, who was 27 years old and pregnant along with their unborn child. In 2004, Peterson was found guilty in a very well-known murder case in the state. Now the LA Innocence Project has asked for evidence for Peterson's trial to be reviewed again. They submitted this request to the court in San Mateo County. LAIP helps free people who were wrongly put in jail by using DNA testing and new science. Peterson went to jail in 2004 in San Mateo County. This happened 2 years after Lacey Peterson disappeared on Christmas Eve in 2002. She was pregnant with their baby, Connor, at the time. Peterson and Lacey had been married for 5 years. Investigators found out that Peterson took the bodies of his wife and unborn child from their home. He then put them into San Francisco Bay when he went to Berkeley Marina. Peterson said he went to Berkeley that morning for fishing when asked by investigators. However, months later, the remains were found not far from where Peterson claimed he was fishing. In April 2003, Peterson got arrested because Amber Frey, a massage therapist from Fresno, told the police that they started dating about a month before Peterson's wife died. But Peterson lied to her, saying his wife was already dead. Later, Frey cooperated with investigators and spoke at the trial. He was found guilty of first-degree murder and death for killing his wife, and the next serious type for the death of the baby before birth. Peterson got sentenced to spend his whole life in prison, with no chance of ever getting out. In 2020, the California Supreme Court said his conviction was right, but they changed their minds about giving him a death penalty because they didn't pick some jurors fairly. "I've seen no sorrow or no remorse from you at all," Mother Sharon Rocker said. I know you're going to say you have no remorse because you're innocent. You haven't shown any grief or sorrow for either one of them. I still feel the grief every day after 19 years. No matter what happens, no matter what transpires in the future, there are two things that will never change. Lacey and Connor will always be dead, and you will be always the murderer. In December 2022, Peterson asked for a new trial for the murder case he was in. He said one of the jurors didn't tell the truth about being abused, and that affected the trial's outcome. However, the judge who looked into Peterson's request said there wasn't any proof to back up his claim. What do you think after having the details of the case? We are interested in what you would decide in that moment. Comment it down below. Let's go on. We sometimes hear about people that stalk others and get obsessed with them over time. In this case, it tragically ended in the death of a woman. The Supreme Court decided to give Louis Seiko a 36-year jail term. He killed Celestia, the daughter of Miss Tomorrow, after following her around for months in an obsessive manner. In November 2020, Louis Seiko committed a murder. He broke into Miss Mano's bedroom with a hammer and then used a kitchen knife to kill her. Judge Jane Dixon decided that Seiko can ask for parole in 2050, but because Seiko's chance of getting better are low, the parole board might say it's too risky to let the killer out early. Let's find out the details of how this came up to this point. Before the murder happened, the person who did it became really fixated on someone they used to work with. He kept sending the person a lot of messages online, kind of like stalking them. The person being stalked, Miss Mano, kept saying the stalker to stop. She even got help from the court to make the stalker stay away, but that didn't stop him. Then at 3:38 in the morning on the day Miss Mano was killed, the stalker went to her house and murdered her. This was after she had posted a picture online with her new boyfriend. Seiko was later arrested at a police station, telling Miss Mano had been killed. However, he refused to accept responsibility for her death and said his memory of the event was fuzzy. At the time of the murder, Seiko had undiagnosed extreme personality disorder, depression, and body dysmorphia, forensic expert Ryan Durgee said. Judge Dixon recognized that Seiko admitted he was guilty instead of going through a trial. However, she pointed out that he didn't seem sorry, tried to make his actions seem less serious, and made ridiculous excuses to justify what he did. Seiko was dressed in a grey prison uniform and wore glasses with black rims. He didn't show any emotions while sitting in the court. Miss Seymour spoke to reporters outside the court. She said she felt devastated about the sentence. She was visibly upset as she talked about Seiko's crime and criticized the sentencing. "I don't believe in parole. I don't believe in releasing murderers to murder again," she said. Do you agree with her? Write your thoughts down below. The next court case shows a horrific crime because the murderer couldn't see her ex-girlfriend to be happy with another man after they broke up. A man named Caden Pryor, who was jealous of his ex-girlfriend's new boyfriend, has been sent to jail. He stabbed the new boyfriend, Harrison Tompkins, to death while he was lying in bed. Caden also punched his ex-girlfriend, Alicia Perrin, while he kept stabbing Harrison with a hunting knife. At Brighton Crown Court, they put Pryor and his partner who helped him during this event, Jason Curtis, in jail. Pryor got at least 28 years and Curtis got at least 22 years for the terrible attack. Miss Perrin talked in court. She said she'd never get over seeing Tompkins die. She also said Pryor probably enjoyed ruining her life. During the trial, the jury learned that Miss Perrin and Pryor used to be in a relationship, but it wasn't a good one. Pryor was very jealous and controlling. He even threatened to hurt Miss Perrin if she ever dated someone else. In July 2023, Miss Perrin got her own apartment to get away from Pryor. She hoped he understood it was over between them, but he didn't. On August 13 of that year, the two of them went to Chelsea, London to celebrate Curtis' birthday. He met up with Curtis outside and told him to burn his clothes as they ran away. The police were called and a big search began. They found Pryor at his home and Curtis hiding in bushes nearby. When they were arrested, Curtis acted surprised, asking about a murder and claiming he was out celebrating his birthday. Judge Jeremy Gold said Curtis was heavily involved in the events leading up to the terrible crime by helping Pryor. In court, it was explained that Miss Perrin sent angry messages to Pryor to the day before the murder, telling him not to contact her again. Despite this, Pryor still believed they were in a relationship. Miss Perrin and Mr. Tompkins had become acquainted while working at their center. The interactions became more serious in the weeks before August 12th, when they decided to meet at a colleague's farewell party. They were seen together at a pub and a club in Crowley's town centre by a mutual acquaintance, Alice Stafford, who messaged Curtis on Snapchat to inform him that Miss Perrin was out with friends. Now it gets interesting. Curtis' response says to keep an eye out for her and see what she's doing. Jurors heard that Pryor also had a video of Miss Perrin kissing another man in the club that night. He messaged her, expressing his disapproval. Letting guys kiss you and that's absolutely wrong. I can literally see you. Even they said they didn't commit murder. After a 4-week trial, they were both declared guilty. When the judge decided the punishment, Judge Gold stated, "This was a very careful planned and carried out murder of a young man whom neither of you had any connection to or a sensible reason to harm, let alone kill." What a terrible ending for such a young girl. Which courtroom moment do you think was the toughest one today? If you know court cases that can be featured on the channel, please write it in the comment section. Take a second to write your thoughts down below. Please subscribe to our channel and check out one of these videos here. See you in the next courtroom video. Take care.